Hello, this is Z from MarketWizards.com, and it's just about 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, the 15th of November, 2022, reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. All right, I'm doing my weekly review. Like to take a few minutes on the weekend to review what ideas worked, what didn't, and how can I improve my ability as a trader. So typically, you won't hear the feel-good generic cliches that are tossed about on Twitter as knowledge. I'll leave that to those folks to do that, which they do best, and I'm going to focus on a specific objective criteria that makes the difference in my trading. And this is a chart, a Globex chart, and we noted that the resistance pivot that I had tossed out early held on several tests. I also noted the low from the prior day. I always try to make sure I'm aware of that because the beach ball tends to go under and then can bounce from there. And as long as it stays under it, then we're still going lower. But once it bounces above it, then you have to suspect it that any of the range from the prior day is fair game to be tested. So this is an important chart for me. And especially pre-market, where we had suggested that make sure that 640 area was respected. And then obviously at the highs, anybody that doesn't protect their profits because the market tends to ebb and flow. You have to assume you're going to be making multiple trades during the day, and some of those you're going to get stopped out, obviously, and some you're going to win on. The one thing you can't do is let it just keep running against you. That's just suicidal in this business. One of the things that I was looking for as the trade progressed was when you get into this middle zone in here, which way is it really going to go? And in my opinion, the evidence seemed to suggest that we could still come back, and we had to take out this blue line. But I felt because it was the end of the week, we could test the lows to support one more time. And if we could not break certain levels like the 664, that we weren't destined to go back and go any lower. So this was the critical time really towards as the day advanced. Can you break that down or not? But my intuition was correct that we're going to come back down, and we'd already closed the gap. So this is the second test of lows and could not break that and go down any further. And then we rotate and come up into the close and run right into the rain line at the end of the day. Tim is someone who has studied with me before, and said he just wanted to make sure he was on the same page. So this was on Thursday. This was done. I told him where I thought support was, and then if that broke 619, this was an outlier possible, but risk reward said that would be tough to get there, and certainly my feeling was it would not hold. Stay down there, would bounce dramatically by the end of the day if we even did get down there. So I like to substantiate what I say and teach people that want to listen, and those that don't, well, you're obviously welcome to use your system, which probably is a good one. Hopefully for you it is. Here's where that 640 came from, just for those two people that want to listen to this video besides myself. And this is the quarter, and so I thought this was a big idea that you have to break that down to get any further. And that so this yellow circle is the area at the time that was being resolved. We know that this was a resistance zone up here, and support zone obviously here. So we still have to reconcile with the prior quarter low. I'm going to keep an eye on that as we move forward. And these were some of the calls that I made during the day on Twitter. I keep a journal for myself. I'm running all day long where I just can go back and look at my thoughts, and these are somewhat self-evident. The 7650 first resistance that was posted had already determined that long before in the morning before 9:31, but that's when I was posting it. Um, this 11:38 time, knock out the IB low. This is just a game they played. Knock out the low, the IB low, and then if we can get a little bit more traction, come down a little bit deeper. And here's that 664 idea, obviously the 640, and then the potential 619, the outlier target. Not ruled out, but this was the key, and the timing was everything here because I felt the weeklies would want to take profits by the end of the day. So where you don't want to get caught here. And as luck would have it, I had an appointment at the end of the day. So I just had to leave a little bit early, and I never did see the close. Probably a good thing. They like that this thing will run like crazy on you, and well, once we turn on the weeklies and their profits start coming out, like once we busted 781, I felt that was it. We would not come back this way the rest of the day. So this was fast down and this was fast up. So this still needs to be negotiated next week, and I'll review this video before Sunday night because this will help me to keep my thoughts right where they were, right where they are now to begin the week. This is the deeper look from a 60-minute chart showing the perspective and these targets that I had talked about down here in the 781 and the 76 and a half. So the risk reward, really, when I look at this picture, the risk reward, that's what it was all about. We know that we had almost 1,000-point trade for the week. So if you want that last 17 points or so from this high for 1,000-point trade, you're risking that versus the opposite direction end of the week, right? Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So we know that anybody that was looking for the last pieces of cheese down here, you've got to be very nimble towards the end of the week. At least that's my feeling. Now, let's take a look at the model. This is the DNA of the market, and these are static pivots. So I already know my levels, and this is one of the best kept secrets out there that nobody wants to listen to. So that's okay. You do your own thing. I'm going to do mine. I'm going to use this stuff because it works. I already know where my support pivots are. I already know this 664. I know that on the way down, this 703. Make sure you are paid coming in near that 708. I know 781 and quarter is a dynamic pivot that's going to be long side or short side. That's the directional pivot. And then obviously as the market floated back up here, you can see this 76 and a half, which I called as resistance, never did break. So 937 and a half is technically the resistance pivot, but I find the extreme zone is where the ES turns and where NQ turns. With stocks, it's going to turn here, but with the indexes, it's usually going to float above it, and then it catches those late traders, and then we come back down. And so right now, 6 and a quarter is our support pivot. Until that breaks, nothing doing on the short side. So this is an example of the static pivots, and you can really see as the levels get breached, and it won't be exact. It won't be I mean, this was what, like a point and a half below it. Big deal. So that doesn't break. Come down here, it breaks. But within a point or two either side of this, that's the support pivot, and that's the one I called for the end of the day, rather than coming back down to catch this tail. Here was our weekly, and we can see we just missed like 1,000-point trade. We know that. We also know once we came back up above this 758, took out 81, that we were in this box trying to come back up and test the top. in the next box. It just works that way. And these are dynamic pivots. These will change over time, but the static pivots never do. And here's a look again at the fourth quarter. And we know I've marked for myself this 875 is the middle of this box. We close somewhere near there. So this is the first box that needs to be reconciled come Sunday. A quarter opened at 11:30. We're going to pay attention to that going forward. So are we bullish or bearish? We're neither. We're traders. We're looking for opportunity, ebbs and flows during the day. For now, obviously, this 640 to 6.25 area, that's got to hold. Usually that low down here will not get broken until we have a formation, maybe 2 or 3 times at this level. And then if that breaks, we'll come through it. So I would have to say still the jury is still out. Whether David Hunter's projected idea of coming out the top and going to new highs plays out, who knows? It's not important. Along the way, we're going to get opportunities. All I can say is that we had a double top and we failed and we came back this week. So it's still muddy, but we're still inside the range and we're going to play the range one level at a time. I'd also made the call that major pivot was 37.50, 37.11 was an important support. We held that. This works the same way. You've got to use your predicted price levels. So we already know that this is the support zone for now until broken. And I've looked at macro charts in addition, and weeklies and so on. But for now, all I'm looking for is one day at a time, one step at a time. We've got elections coming out this coming week. We'll see what kind of craziness ensues. And again, the most important question is, what can we get from the day? What can we get every day, one day at a time? Thanks again for listening to my journal. Hope these ideas have helped you. I think many traders are on the sidelines now. I think there's been a difficult market, the whipsaws back and forth, and the one thing you cannot do is let it run against you. So plant in your mind the idea that if you're going to trade this, it's not going to be on generic cliches, but on specific objective criteria. And if your stop gets beat, so be it. Your stop gets beat. That's the risk we take when we play this game. Hopefully you're still in the game and still working on your system, trying to make yourself a better trader. It's not just about levels, not just about timing, but it's also about psychology, about our ability to win against that demon in our own mind that tells us we're not good enough. We are good enough. We just need to pay our dues and we need to be focused and not on memes, not on cliches, but on objective criteria and going with the flow, whichever direction it happens to be at that moment in time that we choose to go into the trade. So let's pay attention to fallback and spring ahead. And I wish you a wonderful day.